おはようございます。本日はご多忙の中、ソフトバンクワールド2020にご参加いただき、誠にありがとうございます。総合司会のクリス・ペプラーです。さて、例年リアル会場で開催しているソフトバンクワールドですが、今年はコロナ禍の影響でもあり、例年より3ヶ月遅れで本日29日、そして明日30日の両日、完全オンラインでの開催となりました。講演プログラムも展示ブースもすべてオンライン上で公開されていますので、どうぞ自由なスタイルでお楽しみください。なお、ライブ放映しているプログラムではソフトバンクの新本社が入る東京ポートシティ竹芝からお届けしています。9回目を迎える今年は、この時代を乗り越えるテクノロジーがここにあるというテーマでお届けいたします。約90社のパートナー様にご協賛いただき、70以上の講演プログラムとバーチャル展示ブースでの最新 IT テクノロジーを活用したソリューションをご紹介していきます。お客様事例紹介はもとより、各分野に精通したスペシャリストによる多彩なプレゼンテーションをどうぞお楽しみください。本日のタイムテーブルはこちらになっています。午前中は基調講演と特別プログラム、午後は協賛各社様によるブレイクアウトセッションを予定しています。では本日の注目のラインナップをご紹介してまいりましょう。この後オープニングではソフトバンクグループ株式会社孫正義による基調講演、NVIDIA のジェンスン CEO との特別対談をお届けいたします。10時30分からは特別プログラム Meet the Global Tech Leaders が用意されています。12時からはソフトバンク株式会社宮内健の基調講演へと続きます。これらは日本語と英語による視聴が可能ですので、エントランスページで視聴言語をお選びください。12時30分からは株式会社 HP 様によるワークフローのニュースタンダード VR の今、未来、現実。マップボックスジャパン合同会社様によるデジタルマップの新サービスによるビジネス変革。アクセンチャー株式会社様による優れたエクスペリエンスこそがビジネスを成長させる。13時からはアクセンチャー株式会社様による DX による新規事業創造 DX ヘルスケア。株式会社セールスフォース .com 様によるテクノロジーで実現するエンタープライズ企業の DX。それではソフトバンクワールド2020スタートいたしましょう。Here's Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of SoftBank。
それではソフトバンクグループの会長でいらっしゃいます孫正義氏からのお話です。
おはようございます。ソフトバンクの孫です。今までソフトバンクワールドといえば何万人もの方々に、コンファレンス会場に集まっていただいて、いろんなスピーチだとか製品のデモを見ると、そういうような場でありましたが、今回初めてこのような形でもう完全にオンラインで、開催することになりました。人々が移動できない、大勢が同時に会えないという中で、バーチャルにですね、こういう形でオンラインでやるというのも、もしかしたら新しい流れになるのかもしれませんね。いよいよ始まります。今からソフトバンクワールド、 オンラインで始まりますが、その冒頭に、これから、私とNVIDIA のCEO のジェンセン、二人の対談を行いたいと思います。これは象徴的な出来事だと思うんですけれども、AI の時代がついにですね、これまでの大学の研究室、あるいは企業のですね、研究開発の場からもう完全にですね、様々な事業として活用される、世界の大きな巨大な製薬会社、あるいは自動車メーカー、あるいはロジスティクスの会社、あるいは教育の会社、コミュニケーションの会社、もう様々な e コマースもですね、様々な会社が AI を本当にもう事業そのものに活用するという時代になりました。この AI がクラウド側でですね、大変な発展を遂げているわけですけれども、これからはエッジ AI ということで、エッジサイドにもですね、AI がどんどん盛り込まれると。このエッジ AI とクラウド AI が相互にやり取りをしながらですね、このインテリジェンスをさらに高めていくと、そういう時代がやってきたわけです。そこで、我々ソフトバンクグループもですね、我々が買収したアーム、このエッジコンピューティングの世界最大の会社だと思いますけれども、このアームとそれからクラウドサイドのですね AI の最大の NVIDIA が今回合併、我々売却という形で合併をすると。でも合わせて我々ソフトバンクは NVIDIA の筆頭株主になると。売ったような買ったような不思議な関係ですけれども、とにかく手を結ぶというようなことになりました。私とジェンセンが4年前に、僕のカリフォルニアの自宅でですね、庭で、3、4時間食事をしながら語ったその時の夢がついに一緒に力を合わせてやるということになったわけですが、その辺のいきさつもちょっと含めて、まずこれから、NVIDIA が先日発表した彼らのテクノロジーコンファレンスでのオープニングのビデオ、一緒にちょっと見ていただいて、彼らが考えている AI がどのような世界に向かうのかというコンセプト、ビデオを見ていただいて、その上で私と彼の対談、そして、AI がどのような企業にどんな形で今使われ始めているのかという新しい事例も我々のファミリーカンパニー何社かそれも紹介して、ついにこんな時代が来たんだということを皆さんにご紹介し、ちょっと実感をしていただきたいなと、こういうふうに思います。ついに AI は新しい最もエキサイティングな次の10年を迎えると、そういうタイミングに来たということで私は興奮しております。ぜひ皆さんも、それを大いに活用していただきたいというふうに思います。よろしくお願いいたします。
Searching for the origins of our universe. And charting a safer path to other worlds. I am a helper, moving us forward one step at a time, and giving voice to every emotion. adventure of medicine. And finding a needle in a haystack when every second counts. I am a visionary, uncovering masterpieces lost to the ages. Finding new adventures in a galaxy far, far away. I am a builder. Driving perfection in everything we create. I am even the narrator of the story you are watching. Composer of the music. And when the world faces its greatest challenge, I give us the power to take it on together.
Well, Jensen, it's a very exciting time, and we saw your opening video of conference you just had this month, and it's amazing, beautiful video. So, would you like to talk a little bit about your video, your vision, what you think?
Yeah, Masa, thanks for having me. It's always great to sit and talk to you about big ideas. In fact, in our times together, we've spoken about some very big ideas. One of them, of course, is artificial intelligence. Yes. And that is the focus of GTC. GTC is our annual developers conference. GTC is our annual developers conference. The company's founding mission. And its mission today is to solve problems that ordinary computers cannot solve. And so we have to choose, and we focus on problems like computational medicine, or science, or robotics, or autonomous driving, and of course, very, very broadly, artificial intelligence. And we focus on developing tools and SDKs and softwares and of course, new chips and new systems that can help developers be more productive. And once a year, twice a year actually, we do our GTC. We used to take it all over the world. I would fly all over the world, starting in Santa Clara, and then I would go to Japan, and I would go to China, I would go to Europe. But now I sit in my kitchen, and I can go all over the world. And present to the developers. This year we had a record number of talks. We spoke about some very important areas, and we have. I'd love to explore some of it with you. One of the major themes.
Computer writing the software, we can save a lot of time, and we can focus more on creating something that, and then creative thinking. So computer can help realize those thinking into actual coding. It's amazing. It helps our creativity so much more.
That's right. And the amazing breakthrough is this. Human creativity, of course, is still unparalleled. Our ability to come up with unique ideas is still unparalleled. And machines are nowhere near that.
Right.
However, a computer can solve a problem that is so gigantic in scale that no humans can.
That's right.
The computer's advantage is scale, size.
Yeah.
It can look at petabytes and petabytes of data and observe patterns from inside it.
And massive parallel effort, right?
That's right. In a way that no humans can.
Right.
Because humans can only fit so much information in our head. And so the advantage of AI is the ability to learn from a gigantic amount of data. The algorithm itself is kind of like a universal function approximator.
Yes.
It can learn almost any function.
Yep. Yep.
And it can learn the function from a great deal of data, and then that function can predict the future after it's learned.
Right.
So it can predict, it can infer from future circumstances. And so our observation, Masa, the great contribution we've made to the industry is realizing that AI is a brand new type of computer science. The software is different, the system is different, the chips are different, the methodology is different. And you need a computer to create the AI.
Right.
And you need a computer to run the AI.
Right.
These two types of computers are fundamentally different than the type of computers today.
Right.
That observation by our company almost a decade ago was a groundbreaking observation.
Yeah.
And we've now invested probably $25 billion
Wow, 25 billion.
in investing in this one area of AI. Now, some of the things that we've been able to solve in working with the industry and the developer conference, we have some over 2 million developers around the world now. This last year grew 600,000. So the rate of our developer is growing incredibly. We have our architecture is called CUDA, has been downloaded 20 million times.
20 million times. 20 million times in 1 year.
20 million times. This is great. It's been downloaded 20 million times in history. But last year has been downloaded 6 million times.
Oh, like 6 million times in last 1 year. Yeah.
And 20 million times in history.
Yeah.
We have now shipped 1 billion GPUs based on CUDA. And now the rate is growing very quickly. We have
So that many developers are really, writing codes and so on, right?
Yeah, the benefit of a computing platform and the exciting thing about a computing platform is, of course, it's very difficult to build. If you look at the history of computers, really there's only two main computers that's being used today. x86, and of course the most popular CPU in the world is ARM.
Yep.
The third computing architecture that has, over this time, the only third computer is NVIDIA's CUDA.
Yeah. So this is a very important point, okay? So as you said, the architecture would change. People need to understand about this big change in the concept. Because I say the early stage, the first stage of computing, first it did the calculation. Instead of people do calculation slowly, the computer can do calculation very quickly. And then the second, it can memorize so much more information than one human can do. So it can have a massive memory. When you have a massive memory, then you want to search, right? Because there are so many data that you want to search out of those massive memory. So the computer was utilized for those purpose. And then the company who are good at, realizing those purpose made a big success. But now, finally, computer got the ears and the eyes, right? To recognize your voice and the speech, recognize what you can see with the image recognition, right? So that would totally change how the computer should be utilized. And you are in the center of those, deep learning for learning what people can see with the eyes and the ears, and which we did not have in the computing world until just recently.
Just the calculation computer did it at scale.
Right.
Remembering, storing data, computer did it at scale.
Yeah.
Intelligence, recognizing patterns, reasoning, planning.
Yeah.
Now the computer is going to do that at scale.
Exactly. And the speed.
Intelligence at scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the reason why this age of AI is such an important time.
Yes.
And during our conversation, you and I have spoken about so many breakthroughs that have come. Computer vision is now, of course, better than humans.
Yep.
Speech recognition is now better than human.
Yep.
Even summarization is better than human.
Right.
And so language understanding is becoming better than humans. Translation is becoming better than humans. And so the ability for this type of software to be able to learn from enormous amounts of data at extremely large scale and speed is something that humans cannot keep up with. However, we can take advantage of it to solve some very big problems.
So some people say, well, computer can see and listen, but the computer cannot understand the context. Some people say that. I say, why? If human can understand with the logic, as long as there is a logic, of course, computer should be able to understand the context because it's a bunch of come with a bunch of logic, right?
Yeah, one of the things that people will say, of course, is that the computer cannot think. The concept of thinking is very difficult to describe. What is thinking is very difficult to describe. Just like an airplane doesn't fly like a bird.
Right.
The computer can perform skills that is apparently like thinking.
Right.
It doesn't have to think the way we think. The computer performs a skill that seemingly is intelligent.
That's right.
It seems like intelligent.
Right.
The advantage, of course, is that artificial intelligence can do it 24 hours a day. It could do it at incredible high speeds. You could replicate it and do it at a very large scale. You could recognize patterns that no humans can because there's too much information. For example, one of the major applications for AI right now is cybercrime, fraud detection. So much of our commerce is moving into the cloud, into digital. Cybercrime is very, very large. The world's economy is $140 trillion. About 1% of it, about $1 trillion is lost as a result of cybercrime. Right. We can now use artificial intelligence to recognize patterns of intrusion from many, many different sources and shut down the intrusion instantaneously. So American Express recently announced that they're using NVIDIA to do fraud detection, and they can detect fraud in 2 milliseconds.
Right.
Just 2 milliseconds, and so they could shut that down. The savings to the global economy, of course, is very high. You know that there's a fair amount of loss in shopping and retail, and the checkout process is very arduous and inaccurate, and the retail industry loses about 1.5% per year.
Yeah.
If you think about the size of the retail industry, 1.5% per year, and their gross profit, their gross profit is only 2%.
Right. Yeah. So
1.5% is lost.
So bad inventory, right? So that you have to throw away the waste, the product that you oversupply, and people have been thinking, what is the best volume should I procure? How much volume can we sell this Christmas? People have been thinking, and that is a thinking people thought, oh, I am expert. I am most good at than average other people on the street. But as you say, computer can think what is the best mix, what is the best volume that we should prepare as the storage for the inventory so that we don't waste, right? So this is a part of thinking that computer can become expert and with a massive data of the seasonality, the temperature, weather, and employment rates, the pandemic, all those input of data, the computer can actually think what is the best mix of product and the volume, what is the best price that should we price to win against the competition, what is the best recommendation should we give to each individual customer based on their hobby and their buying pattern and the habit and their budget and so on, right?
That's exactly right. And so if you look at Walmart, we work with Walmart on their inventory management system and their retail checkout system and their warehouse logistics system. They have so many stores. They have hundreds of thousands of SKUs. And every retail store is different because every retail store is in a different region. And each region has its regional taste. Sometimes there's a hurricane. And all of a sudden, they need special type of things. Maybe sometimes there's a picnic, just a picnic, or a big game. All of a sudden, beer runs out, or certain types of foods run out. You see that each one of the regions and each one of the stores are behaving differently. It's impossible for somebody to sit at headquarters, to collect the information, reason about what to do, plan the inventory, ship it to the stores. In the future, Walmart is going to be one giant AI.
Right. Yes.
One giant AI. And that's the exciting part, the exciting time right now. I believe that every company will become an AI.
Yeah. Banking is a great example also, right? Banking become a giant AI center which just happen to manage people's wealth, right?
That's right. And of course, we will always have human in the loop.
Yep.
We will have human in the loop. It will make recommendations about the action it's about to take.
Right.
And we will apply our judgment.
Yep.
And we can think about it. And we can, of course, apply core values, or maybe even though we're going to lose money, we believe that it's good for society right now to help people through the pandemic. And we don't change the price, even though the AI thinks that we should change the price.
Yeah. Because we have a heart. We have a heart to be nice to the other human, to be helpful to the other human. So we utilize AI as a tool for our judgment, for our decision making, and for our happiness and or joy, whatever. Human, we choose which recommendation to take, and sometimes go against the recommendation because of the other reasons that we want to have as a taste.
We're seeing now of course, initially AI started in the clouds because they collected so much data, and the amount of data in the world today on the internet, you have 6 billion people using the internet, and the amount of data is so gigantic, it is impossible to even search anymore.
Right.
How do we know what to look for?
Right.
There's so much items, there's so many things in the world that there's no way to look for it. We can't look for news. It's impossible. News is coming all the time.
Yeah.
Music is coming all the time. Video is coming all the time. Everything is coming all the time. And so the internet, of course, had to move from search to recommendation. The recommendation engine of all of the internet companies is what drove AI in the first generation.
Yeah.
So the first generation of AI, when you and I first started to talk about AI was being developed in the laboratories. We were developing the computing system.
Yeah.
And we were creating the software stack and the methodologies for creating AI. The first industrial phase, the industrialization of the technology, was in the cloud. What's happening now, and this is the exciting part, the next phase of AI is now moving into all the industries.
Yeah.
We're working with AstraZeneca and GSK. This is the announcement that I made in Cambridge. The reason why I called it Cambridge 1 is because as you know, Cambridge is the home of computer science, the birthplace of computer science, Alan Turing, and the birthplace of genomics, Watson and Crick, the discovery of the DNA. Can you imagine when I built a machine for computational genomics? to place it in the home of my future home, Cambridge.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. It's such a wonderful story.
Yeah.
So the timing was perfect. I called it Cambridge One. We announced our partnership with GSK and AstraZeneca to use AI for drug discovery. So now AI has gone into industry for drug discovery. AI went into retail, Walmart, for example. AI went into banking, American Express, for example. We just announced AI for Microsoft Office. We worked with Satya and his team to connect Azure with NVIDIA AI to Microsoft Office. And you could imagine all of the ways that AI can help us summarize our emails in the morning, maybe prioritize our work, identify very urgent matters, recommend the next action. When we type email, of course, the grammar will be always very good. Of course, there are many things that we can do with AI. And so now it's in Office. We have AI in agriculture with John Deere, in robotics in Japan with Fanuc, with farming with Kubota Industries. You have AI in of course, transportation. The list of industries now that AI is going into is really quite phenomenal. And so I would say that the second generation of AI is enterprise, turning every company into an AI. Third generation, and this is where you and I fantasized and talked about the future of AI. The largest opportunity, of course, is when AI moves out to the world. And AI is now autonomous machines. Everything will be a robot. Buildings will be a robot. Cars will be a robot. There will be two-wheel robots, two-leg robots, two-arm robots. Your future artificial leg to help people walk is a robot.
Yes.
Your future wheelchair will be a robot.
Well, I think the biggest robot is the autonomous car. So it's a gigantic industry, and so people still doubt. So many people still doubt can autonomous driving would be safer or as safe as human drivers. Okay. You and I are a true believer of the autonomous driving, but let the audience know that where are we in the autonomous driving stage, and 5 years, and then 10 years, what's the level of autonomous driving, capability and safetiness? Can you comment on that?
I would break autonomous driving into three large categories. Okay? The first category is autonomous vehicles that is not moving people in closed environments or even in open environments but moving slowly. For example, delivery grocery. There's nobody inside, just lettuce and milk and eggs. And it's a very slow moving car, maybe only moving at 5, 10, 15 miles per hour. And no harm will come. Right. No harm will come. That will be completely autonomous.
Yeah. Even inside the logistics center, the warehouse.
Exactly.
Right?
There will be hundreds of millions of that. Yeah. Just without even thinking about humans. There will be hundreds of millions of that per year.
Yeah.
Second, inside heavily mapped areas, regions that are very well understood, there will be taxi services that are essentially driving on an invisible rail. It's almost like a rail tram, except it's based on AI.
Right.
And of course, it's much more advanced than a tram, but it's driving on digital rails, digital maps. Still very complicated, but you can imagine the technology is possible. Yeah. In fact, Google just announced, right? Waymo just announced that Arizona, their cars are now completely driverless. Yeah. So it has begun. The thing about engineering, as you know, is very well is the moment that someone achieves it, the fact that it's possible, everyone else will achieve it.
Yes.
The art of the possible is the first thing for innovation. Now that somebody does it, it will become better, lower cost, higher quality, longer range, incredibly fast.
Yeah.
That's the nature of competition. That's the nature of engineering.
So people still ask question about what happens if the dog run on the street, the birds comes, and the heavy rain and the snow, all those long tail, very rare case. Can autonomous driving be safe enough compared to the human drivers?
It will be safer than a human driver.
I absolutely agree with you, but there are many other people who don't believe that yet.
Yeah, we have to show it and prove it, but there's no question it will be safer. And the third category is passenger cars. Right? Third category is passenger cars. The thing about passenger cars is that it doesn't have to be completely autonomous. It just has to make the driving experience much more delightful. In the future, when you have a self-driving car and it's a passenger, you're driving the car, it's almost like you're driving with your brain power. Your hand is on the steering wheel. You're paying attention. It's almost like you're thinking and the car is connected to your brain.
Yeah.
That is going to be really a wonderful experience. And so the autonomy there is driving assistance to the nth degree, but it's driving assistance, very, very advanced driving assistance. And of course, you could tell the car to go park itself. You know, it's only 2 or 3 miles per hour. It will recognize the parking spots. It will recognize it will go park itself. You can summon the car. When you're in a traffic jam, of course, it will drive by itself, and you can even take a nap if you like. And so there's a lot of different degrees of autonomy. I think that when people take automobiles and they say that you need to build a self-driving car that can drive in any condition, in any country, on any road, just like a human, that's unnecessary to achieve to bring great joy to people, right?
Well, I think sometime in the future, the regular human driver's car will be limited into some hobby area. Like we used to have horse riding on the street, right? But now horse riding is limited to some hobby area, right? If you ride a horse on the highway, you will be caught by the police, and because it will jam and create noise to the traffic system. But because the speed of the car is so much faster than the horses and so on, I think in the future, autonomous driving become the center of the transportation, and human can of course have a hobby of driving, but for the fast lane, things, autonomous will be safer.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
So we're working on autonomous machines now, of all kinds. There's ones that swim. Of course, all boats and all ships will be autonomous. Flying, autonomous. So we're working on so many autonomous machines. The ones that gives me the most joy are the ones that are extensions of your body, to help people who need prosthetics.
Yeah.
There's some 30, 40 million people around the world that needs prosthetics.
Right.
And so now we could give them robotic legs.
Yeah.
And so I think the robotic technology there is going to help a great deal of people. And you're going to have robotic wheelchairs and just robotic street sweepers and all over the place.
So that's all edge AI, right? So the AI have to be smart enough in the edge side that is with a high speed, but also you have the massive parallel the AI in the crowd. And the massive parallel AI in the crowd and edge AI shake hand with the fast communication with 5G coming now and 6G, 7G, 8G coming in the future, that
Exactly.
With a seamless interaction of edge side AI and the cloud side AI, right?
That's exactly right. The cloud side AI will be used for creating the AI,
Yeah.
for training the AI.
Yes.
Then the AI will be run at the edge on these autonomous machines, edge AI.
Right.
Sometimes the edge AI is moving. Sometimes the edge AI is not moving. It's just a building or a street or a warehouse or a factory. It's not moving. And they're all edge AIs. And these edge AIs will operate the AI and they will learn because some skills, it's not perfected. And sometimes they make a mistake.
Right.
They will remember their mistake, send it back to the cloud. The cloud will learn from that mistake, send back the learning to all of the autonomous machines, and everybody becomes smarter at once.
Yes. Yes.
This learning loop, this perpetual learning machine, will learn so fast.
Yeah.
Once it's deployed, it will learn so fast.
Yeah. So the cloud side is the aggregation of all the intelligence from the edge AI, right? So it's a group thinking. It's like a group thinking.
Exactly.
It becomes smarter and smarter and find out all the exceptional cases stored and think together, right? So that each individual edge side can also be a input to the crowd, thinking, but also execution side on the edge side, right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And so today the world from a computer architecture perspective, computer systems perspective, the cloud and the AI is x86 and NVIDIA. And in the edge, it's ARM.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the reason why combining ARM and NVIDIA makes so much sense, because we can then bring NVIDIA's AI
Yeah.
to the most popular edge CPU in the world.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The beauty of ARM is the distribution power of to the many partners, right?
Gotcha.
So some people are wondering, that ARM has been neutral to provide the IP to many chipset vendors, and some people argue that after you acquire ARM from us and become one company, would those partners who have been getting a license from ARM IP for ARM IP, can they continue to get license so that they can also deploy for many different applications, create many different chipset, system on chip? Would you allow them to continue that?
Absolutely. And in fact, the ecosystem, the network, this distribution power that you said, is the most valuable part of ARM.
Yeah.
The CPU was the original. Of course, the CPU is fantastic, energy efficient.
Yeah.
It's improving all the time. Incredible computer scientists building the best CPU in the world.
Yeah.
And it's designed for these edge, energy efficient, and yet very high performance. But the true value of ARM is the ecosystem of ARM, the 500 companies that use ARM today.
Yeah, we did a calculation. The ARM would ship out a trillion chipset in a short while, right? So it is the edge computing side with your partner as a new owner. We can provide to the edge computing, and that upgrade to the edge AI for the trillion chipset. That would be amazing combination.
Our dream is to bring NVIDIA AI to ARM's ecosystem.
Right.
the only way to bring it to the ecosystem is through all of the existing customers, licensees, and partners.
Exactly.
And so we would like to offer the licensees more,
Exactly.
even more. And so, of course, we will honor them with everything that they currently buy. We'd like them to buy even more.
Yeah.
And so there's a business reason, of course, but the vision is to combine the most popular CPU in the world that is in every single edge device on the planet, and it's diversifying into so many different type of systems, whether it's cars or like delivery drones or cell towers and right, all kinds of systems all over the world. We would like to bring AI to that.
We provide a tool set to those enabler, right? That create a new SoCs for every different applications that they would like to create. So we just provide a tool set that they can utilize, more toolbox to utilize all kinds of available integration and technology. But they can create for each specific game machines, the home appliance, the robotics that flies or run or swim, whatever, right? So they can have all kinds of creativity for different applications, but the edge AI can also communicate with your cloud AI so that each of them becomes smarter again, right?
That's exactly it. And so once the world realized what our vision was, they realized that, oh, okay, that makes sense. And in fact, we're going to offer them NVIDIA's unique AI technology and all of our expertise. If they have the expertise, that's fantastic. But if they don't, they can benefit from ours. And so together we can bring the next era of AI and realize that. Now, this next generation, as you know, is the next internet is so much larger. Today's internet is used by several billion people. We use the internet, we touch the internet probably several hundred times a day. So the internet is processing several trillion AI inferences per day.
Yeah.
However, now the limitation of the current internet, of course, is it takes a long time to create a human. Even though population is quite large, it still takes a long time to create a human. 9 months to give birth, and then they have to become adults. It takes a long time. The biological time frame for intelligence to use the internet is very long. However, in the future, the intelligence that we can create based on AI and systems and machines, you can create them as quickly as you can manufacture.
With a trillion chipset that they would autonomously think and provide the information and communicate by themselves, right?
And they will be, and because these are machines, they never get tired.
Right.
And because they're working in the world, in the physical world where something is happening all the time, they will be connected, they will be chirping and talking to the internet continuously.
Yeah.
So instead of billions of people, there will be trillions of autonomous machines. Instead of several hundred times a day, it will be continuously talking to the internet.
Yeah.
The point is, the next internet is many orders of magnitude bigger than this one.
Totally agree. It's full of opportunity and full of excitement and full of solutions that mankind could not solve in the past. Like this time in the world, we are all suffering from pandemic, but it is amazing that AI is now solving this drug discovery, the antibodies, the vaccines that human could not create quick enough. AI is helping. Creating solutions, right, for the vaccine and all those antibodies. We could not solve this quickly without the help of AI.
That's exactly right. And if you look at our previous threats in humanity, it's in the old days, oftentimes it's war. And so the defense systems that we create are based on detection of those things, enemies, aircraft, radar systems, enemy submarines, missiles, and things like that. Now, of course, those threats still exist, but the future threats are likely biological.
Right.
And we now see it.
Right.
And these biological threats are invisible. And so the only way that we're going to be able to solve it and prevent it from its spread, detect it early, shut it down quickly, find a therapy, find a vaccine quickly. The only way to do that at light speed is with artificial intelligence.
Exactly. Yeah.
So now nations after nations are building up defense systems for the future.
One of our family company now has developed AI system that can detect heart attack 14 days before you have heart attack, right? With a 95% accuracy. Wow. So people would no longer die from heart attack, right? One of the biggest cause of death in the United States and many other countries now became heart attack, right? But if you can detect heart attack 14 days before you have actual heart attack, you can prepare. You can go to see the doctor. You don't do too much heavy exercise, right? And you start be careful not to have a sudden heart attack. It's amazing. You will be saved, right?
That's right.
And for the cancer, people would no longer die from cancer very soon, right? All kinds of drug discovery is being done with the power of AI, and people will no longer die from car accident, right? So there are many reasons, cause of death of human, which we could not solve in the past, but with the help of AI, now many, one by one, those causes of death is being, eliminated or reduced dramatically. So unless we have the natural disaster, like a big earthquake or tsunami, right? The hurricane, and this kind of pandemic that we did not know as a new virus. But I think with the power of AI, those unsolvable issues, disasters that humans were facing could be helped dramatically, right? So some people say AI, that's the enemy of mankind. No, I said, no. It is a big help to the disaster or issues, the unproductivity that mankind used to have, the headache we used to have. So we should be having a big smile and big excitement, welcoming this revolution of AI, right?
There's so many. Of course, with every powerful technology, and this is unquestioned. Masa, you. I don't know if the audience knows this, but I'm going to say it. Okay, you're the only person that I know. You're the only person that I know who was at the beginning and recognized every single computer revolution since the PC revolution. You brought the PC revolution to Japan. You brought the internet revolution to Japan. You brought the mobile revolution to Japan. You were the first to recognize the China internet revolution. And you were early in recognizing the AI revolution. You're the only person that I know that has recognized it, benefited from it, every one of these revolutions. And so you have to.
You are too nice to say that. I'm flattered, but I am still a little guy, still having
Well, you're just modest, but I just wanted to say that you know well that in all of the times that we've been in the computer industry, this is the most powerful technology force that we have ever seen. The ability for computers to write software, there are several characteristics, several impacts that I think that I would love society to recognize. One, today the most valuable skill, frankly, is computer science and computer programming. If you were a computer scientist, if you were a computer programmer, it is very likely you have quite a nice career. It is very likely, if you're a software programmer, you're doing very well, and you're benefiting from this industrial revolution. However, if you're not a software programmer, it is more likely that you're being left behind. Programming a computer is not easy. And for a long time, we thought that the right answer for the industry was to teach everyone how to program a computer. But that's not likely. C++ is hard. It doesn't matter. It's just hard. And the likelihood that the world all can program computers is not likely. However, for the very first time, we have advanced computer science so much that the computer can program itself.
That's the amazing part.
You just have to teach it. The thing that I'm excited about is that we have finally democratized computing.
Yeah.
Until now, we benefited from computing. The people in the computer science industry, the people in tech, have benefited from the computer industry. For the first time, we're going to democratize software programming. It no longer, you don't have to program the computer, you just have to teach the computer.
Yeah.
And
You just ask. You just ask. You just ask to the computer, this is what I want to do. Can you give me solution? This is what I think where we should go. This is what I wish to have, right? Then the computer give us the solutions and provide the tools to make it happen, right?
That's right. 0.5% of the Earth population are in high tech and knows how to program a computer. But 99% of the people know how to teach something. Teach somebody a skill. A lot of people can teach someone a skill. Now you can teach a computer a skill, and that computer can replicate it and automate it for you. We have now democratized technology. I think that realization, and the realization that AI is ultimately about software writing software, and it's automating skills. It's automating skills. What are the skills that we can use to automate? And that observation by the various industries, one after another, I think is going to revolutionize the economy.
Yeah. So the computer, the AI, become our assistant, right? And then next stage, it become our partner, right? And then it becomes our mentor, right? In some area, but still we can interact with them. The most important thing for the success of each individual human in the future, I think, is to have a big dream, big wish, right? Then you can realize using bunch of those assistants or partners that we can realize. So having a strong wish, right? I wish to do this. I wish to do that. Right? If there are issues, the problem, people are suffering, then you have a wish to help those people who are suffering. Right? Then you have a strong wish, and then you can utilize a bunch of assistants or companion as the AI helping you to achieve that wish. So I think the key in the future to the success for us is to have a strong wish, strong dream, and creativity that we would like to provide. That is become a key.
You have described the singular characteristic of many entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
They have big dream, big wish, unreasonable expectation.
Right. Yeah. Push the limit, right?
And somehow that vision is realized through, of course, hard work and persistence, surrounded by a lot of amazing people. In the future, those big dreams will still require amazing people, but it will also be supported by a bunch of AIs to help that realize that dream. There's no question. You know, one of the things that I'm very excited about, I'm excited about the reason why that I believe that this is the time of AI for Japan. I believe deeply that. Yes. And let me tell you why. Japan's industry is not focused on the internet. It's not focused on computer science. Japan's industry, precision engineering, precision machinery, there's large industries in Japan. Those large industries haven't been able to benefit from computer science until now. The automation of those machinery, the automation of robotics, the automation of factories, these precision instruments, precision machines, the area where Japan just does incredibly well, world class at. That area is now ready for AI. And here's what I imagine. I imagine that we go into a virtual reality world. Yeah. And I demonstrated this. I demonstrated this at my conference, as you can see. It's called Omniverse. Omniverse, this alternative universe, is photorealistic. It obeys the laws of physics. If I drop something, it falls to the ground. It looks like reality, and it's infused with a bunch of AIs. You will create a factory first, and this factory will be filled with robots. Those robots you will teach, you will train, you will program these robots, and these robots will learn how to manufacture products. That product will be maybe a vacuum cleaner. It's a robot. It's a self-driving car. It's a robot. It's a logistics mover. It's a robot. This robotic factory will be filled with robots that will build robots in virtual reality. The whole thing will be simulated, and you will see at night when you go to bed, the AIs will optimize the manufacturing process. Right. Tomorrow when you come back, the organization of the factory may be different than when you went to bed. Right. But it is more optimal than when you saw it yesterday.
It will evolve every day.
That's right. The AIs are evolving the factory, and when it gets to a good point, you will download the blueprint, and we will make it in our universe. Yeah. Now we have two copies of the factory, one in the physical reality, one in the virtual reality. Right. They will now be digital twins. Right. Yeah. Every optimization you make here, if you want to improve here, you optimize it here, you simulate it here, and then you can change it in the physical world. Yeah. That future of virtual reality and robotic factories with robots that are building robots, I believe that is going to change everything.
Yeah, that is the concept of metaverse, right?
The concept of metaverse. Yeah. And it's right in front of us now. Yeah. It is right in front of us.
Yeah, as you say, Japanese has a great, the horizon and the depths of mechatronics, right? Mecha and electronics. Now we need to have artificial intelligence integrated so that it become very smart robots. Where many other countries don't have enough the width or depth to make this happen. So we have to give the tools of artificial intelligence to those people who have passion to those world. I think that is very, very important. So you remember, 4 years ago, you and I sitting in the garden of my home, right?
Yes.
We spent 3-4 hours, just you and me alone, in the garden having dinner with a glass of wine. We were talking. We were talking about our memory of Steve Jobs, right? How crazy he was, how smart, how genius he was, and how much joy we had with him, right? Independently, but we had a common view of him. But with his one, art, which is the iPhone, changed the lifestyle of humanity, right? So that is the last 10 years. I think the next 10 years, you are the one, Jensen. This is the reason why we are having fireside chat, right? That you are in the center of the AI computing. In the era of AI computing, you provide all the tool set, the intelligence that everybody have to utilize as a new industry, new science, new education, new communication. I think the very exciting next 10 years is coming ahead of us.
Unbelievable, actually. Unbelievable. You know, both of us have been in the computer industry a very long time, but it has never been this exciting.
Right.
And the future has never been so clearly going to be so significant. The impact so significant. And I think that the part that is almost unimaginable is that we can almost touch it. That the AI that we've always imagined, we're now seeing it in action. It is working in front of us, doing amazing things. And, you know, Masa, NVIDIA has AI researchers now everywhere, AI engineers everywhere. And every single day, something unbelievable is happening.
Yeah.
Not just impressive, it's unbelievable. Let me give you an example. So I was telling Eric Ren, we were just talking, and you know that video conferencing is going to be one of the killer apps of the next several years, and it's going to consume live video. Consumer video is going to consume the vast majority of the world's internet traffic, and communicating using the traditional method of video is very cumbersome. Eye contact is very difficult to make.
Right.
However, instead of transmitting video, we showed at GTC this brand new AI. It's transmitting perception. So I perceive you. On my side, I reconstruct you.
Yeah.
And when I reconstruct you, you're looking at my eyes. And if we're having a video conference with 20 other people, when you are reconstructed for every one of them, you're looking at everybody's eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really unbelievable. And because it's reconstructed using AI, reconstructing it in its mind, the amount of bandwidth we can use, you can keep reducing the bandwidth by a factor of 10.
Yeah.
And the AI can still reconstruct.
Yeah, you just input the movement of the parts, right? And then reconstruct.
Because the AI remembered what you look like.
Yeah, yeah.
For example, if I close my eyes, I can still have a conversation. I still know you're sitting in front of me.
Right.
I remember that you're sitting in front of me. So the AI remembered you because it, recognized a few images. And then after that, it only perceived you and reconstructed on my side.
Yeah.
I also showed him natural language understanding and speech translation in real time. So you could speak to me in the future in Japanese. I could speak to you in English. You hear Japanese. I hear English.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now the world can communicate through video conference in a way that it cannot.
Jensen, it's such an exciting next 10 years world. I really thank you. I want to speak with you next 48 hours on and on, but we have a limited time, so I'd like to close today's chat.
Thank you.
But I will remember my life that you and I sit down together in my garden last time, and that was a very exciting moment. Today's chat with you, again, so many thousands of miles far away, but we're talking like in front of each other, right? And
it's really true.
And with the help of AI, we can help many other people's life, and not just for the people, but for all the animals and the living being on the earth. It's exciting world that we're gonna see.
Masa, thank you very much, and you remember very well that 4 years ago we were talking about many things that is happening now. Many of the things that's happening now we were talking about 4 years ago. And you were talking to me about my dreams for the company, and you were talking about your dreams for the future of AI. And I want to thank you for entrusting me with ARM. This is really one of the world's great jewels. It's a treasure, and when you bought it, it was a treasure. And I really am honored and appreciative that you're entrusting with it. When you called me, I told you I was going to be the last and highest bidder, and I was, because I wanted it so badly. And I had to pay you an arm and a leg for it, but it's going to be worth way more than that. And the company that we're going to build, combining the most popular CPU in the world, the AI computing company in the world, we will build the company for the age of AI. And this is just an exciting thing.
At the time, 4 years ago, when we were having dinner, that was exactly the timing I was deciding to acquire ARM. And that is exactly the timing that I thought the combination of ARM and NVIDIA with some kind of collaboration, right? That we talked about many ideas, and will create new age of computing, right? As a platform. I'm so excited and happy that that what we were discussing is becoming true.
We're going to make it so.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Have a good SoftBank.
Yeah. Thank you.
Have a good SoftBank world.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. 前線と楽しい、対談を終えました。素晴らしいですね。彼のこれから大活躍する AI のコンピューティングプラットフォーム、これを世界中のテクノロジーカンパニー、そして企業、教育機関、研究所、様々なところでどんどん活躍すると、活用すると、そういう時代がついに来たと思います。また、この我々グループでは、ソフトバンクグループではですね、我々のファミリーカンパニーがこの AI を実際に活用してですね、新しいスタートアップの企業、続々と生まれてきております。約100社ぐらいビジョンファンドで投資したんですけれども、その中のいくつか AI を特に活用している企業を今から紹介したいというふうに思います。よろしくお願いします。それでは早速、具体的に AI をどのようにそれぞれの事業分野に活用し始めているか、これを紹介したいと思います。もうすでにこちらの会社は、我々ソフトバンクビジョンファンド、ソフトバンクグループがですね、投資をしている AI の具体的な活用事例のそれぞれの会社であります。じゃあ早速始めましょう。まず最初ですけれども、ちょうど今、新型コロナのパンデミックということで、世界中の人々が大変苦しんでおります。これを、この新型コロナと向かい合うのにおいてですね、AI がその力をすでに発揮し始めております。例えば、ビアバイオ。こちらはまだ設立数年の若い会社ですけれども、もうすでに今年、アメリカの市場で上場いたしました。抗体ですね。今、盛んにワクチンの開発について報道がなされておりますけれども、実はワクチンは必ずしも全ての人に効くわけではないですね。特にお年寄りですね、高年齢の人々にはワクチンは効きにくいと。なぜならばワクチンは体に入れて、それから自分の体が抗体を作り出して初めて、そのコロナに対抗できるということなんですけども、お年寄りの方の場合には自分の体が、そのものがですね、抗体を作りきらないという問題があります。そこで、お年寄りほどもともと危険なんですけども、そのお年寄りを守るために、 より、良いアプローチはですね、抗体そのものを作って体に入れると。医療用の抗体ですね。こちらをビアバイオが開発しております。数百万の抗体の候補をまず見つけて、その中から絞り出して、数百に絞り出して、AI の力を使ってですね、いろんな組み合わせを1日に1000万個、2000万個、3000万個というような規模の組み合わせをどんどんコンピューティング上やって、AI でそれを洗い出していきます。結果ですね、2つの最有力の抗体を今、もうすでに臨床試験に入っております。もうじき、この試験が終わってですね、医療用の抗体として大量生産が始まるということであります。ぜひ期待をしたいと思います。次は医療用の世界ではないんですけれども、新素材ですね。同じように新しい素材をどうやって開発をするのかと。ザイマジェンが素晴らしい成功を上げ始めております。AI を使ってですね、実験をまず自動化します。ロボットを組み合わせて実験を自動化して、そのどういう組み合わせを、遺伝子の組み換えをするんですけども、そして微生物を設計していくんですね。それ聞いただけで、普通の人はなんじゃそれはということになりそうですけれども、そのように AI を使って遺伝子の組み換えを設計します。そしてそれを実験をします。ロボットを使って圧倒的に早く、効率よく正確にテストを行う。結果何ができるのかというと、例えば電子製品向けのですね、高性能のフィルム、プリント基板みたいなやつだったり、あるいはタッチセンサーの上のカバーするフィルムであったり、あるいは最近は OLED とかのディスプレイなんかもですね、フレキシブルに、曲面が曲がってというようなものも開発が進んできておりますけれども、そういうようなフレキシブルな光学用のフィルムとかいうのは今までに存在してないものを新しい新素材で作ると。その新素材そのものを開発しているのがザイマジェンですね。また、蚊に刺されて、その結果病気になって亡くなっている人々が世界中の死んでる原因の中でですね、実はもう非常に大きな数になっている。特にアフリカだとか、中南米だとか、東南アジアでこういうような問題がありますが、これを天然生物由来の虫除け剤ということで、これまた新素材で AI を使って開発ということであります。どういうメリットがあるのかというと、まず、開発コストがですね、一つの新素材を作るのに300億ぐらいかかってたのが10分の1のコストでできる。新素材の開発と普通はもう10年ぐらいかかるのは普通なんですけれども、これが半分の5年ぐらいでできると。このスピードアップと開発のコストの10分の1っていうのは画期的な新素材、分子レベルの世界のものを新しく発明していくと。新素材を発明していくという世界に AI が続々と今、このような形で成果を上げ始めているということであります。ちょっと動画を見ていただきたいと思います。
To do that, we use pipettes.
Okay.
These are very well-calibrated syringes. You will add a disposable plastic tip to the end. So you push it onto one of those. Yes, exactly.
これは今までこうやってたということですね。
Now we will
これ
put...
私自身がこの
Now,
ザイ
look
マ
out.
ジェンに行って、
Yep.
見てきました。
There is 1 microliter of liquid now. We have bacteria now mixing with the DNA, the foreign
Okay.
DNA.
It's very easy to make mistakes,
Yeah.
right? You saying 1 microliter. This is what labs do everywhere. It's a very gentle aspirate from just the right location in the well. And then it is the tip touch in the deposit. This is inside that box.
I see.
This is a transducer. It's a speaker, converting electricity into pressure, into sound. And what it is going to do, it's not touching the liquid. It's going to use the transducer to detect the height of the column of liquid, and then it's going to use pressure pressure to cause a droplet to shoot up out of the well. So by hand, you moved 1 microliter. This is 2.5 nanoliters.
This is the future of automation at Zymergen and is something that nobody else has. We then have a large number of different instruments around this central maglev track, and we can run arbitrary protocols or recipes that combine work in different instruments in sequence and dynamically route the materials.
If what you're trying to do is build a factory for data, right? This is a robot data factory.
Yes. すごいですね。ロボットによるデータファクトリーを作るんだと。超音波でですね、いちいち人間がなんか試験管のようなものに入れるとか言うんじゃなくて、超音波を使って吹き出してですね、ナノの世界で新素材を作り出していく。従来の研究所なんかでは考えられないやり方ですね。これが AI の世界、AI で一気に加速されるということであります。次、エクスタルパイ。こちらも面白いですね。似たような話なんですけれども、今度は新素材ではなくて、新しい薬ですね。新薬の開発に AI を活用しまして、従来は分子レベルのシミュレーションをしてたので、精度も低いし、カバレッジも狭いということだったんですけども、このエクスタルパイはですね、量子物理学の世界、こちらと AI、クラウドを結びつけてですね、これまたロボットで続々と新しい組み合わせを作り出していくということであります。予測のスピードが10倍に向上しております。こちらもちょっとビデオを見ていただきたいと思います。
Researching for new therapeutics is costly, time-consuming, with a high risk of failure. Exopy created an intelligent digital drug discovery and development platform that combines quantum physics, artificial intelligence, and cloud high-performance computing to empower the key steps of drug R&D and increase research efficiency while lowering the costs and risks. Exopy's ID4 platform is powered by AI and over 1 million cores of computing power. With a database of tens of billions of molecules, ID4 can significantly expand the searchable chemical space for drug discovery and generate tens of millions of new compounds for a given target by accurately calculating the interactions between drug and protein on the atomic and subatomic level. Exopy has developed a high-accuracy general force field and a free energy perturbation workflow. These new and improved methods can provide all-atom simulations of protein-ligand complex structures and reliably predict their binding affinity. Exopy's automated machine learning platform offers over 30 AI models for drug property prediction and supports the fast development and customization of new models. It helps scientists evaluate drug candidates using several key characteristics as parameters and provide a comprehensive assessment on their drug developability and potential risks. From tens of millions of AI-generated chemical compounds, Exopy can quickly identify the top-performing dozens of molecules with the strongest drug potential for the next step of experimental validation and shorten the time cycle for drug screening to an average of 3 weeks. Currently, several of Exopy's AI-discovered molecules are in preclinical development. We make our world significant by the courage of our questions and the depth of our answers. Carl Sagan.
すごいですね。もう量子レベルで新しい薬をシミュレーションしながらどんどん開発していくということでありました。次ですけども、バイオフォーミス。こちらも同じ医療の世界ですけども、またさらにデータをですね、徹底的に臨床データを使って心臓疾患ですね、こちらを事前に予測します。従来のいろんな患者のですね、データ、もう410万人分の患者のデータを活用いたしました。そしていろんなバイオマーカーですね、症状とかをデータで徹底的に分析し、診断のいろんな手法だとか、その どんな診断をしたら、どんな治療をしたら、そしてどんな薬を処方すると結果どうなったかというようなことも全部データを解析しております。で、いろんな有力なノーバティスだとか製薬会社とも提供しています。名誉クリニックだとかですね。重要なのはここです。皆さん、心臓疾患、心臓病でですね、亡くなる人は、今やもう世界中でですね、特にアメリカ、日本なんかヨーロッパでもですね、もう交通事故だとか、癌を超えて最も大きな死因の一つというところまでなってきております。これがですね、もし皆さんが14日前に心不全を起こす14日前に心不全を起こしますよということを教えてもらえたならば、そして適切なですね、治療だとか薬だとか、あるいはすぐに専門のお医者さんに見に行ってもらうというような、見てもらうというようなことをやればですね、命が助かるわけですね。99% の精度で14日前に心不全を予知してくれると。まるで未来のこのね、クリスタルボールを持ったような世界ですけども、それで自分の命が助かるということであります。感度、不整脈の検知という意味では、感度が 91%、得意度 98% ということでですね、専門医を超えるような精度が出てきているということであります。ということは、もう我々はですね、急な心不全で亡くならなくても済むというようなことであります。こちらもちょっとビデオを見ていただきたいと思いますが、その前にですね、薬を適切な投与をできるという、投薬できるということと、入院がですね、もうすでに心臓疾患になっている人がもう一度入院するというのが 70% 減ると。また、重症になってからですね、治療するのは非常に難しいんですけども、早く認知してですね、14日前に分かれば、そもそも医療費が一気に減ると。38% も減るというような実績が上がってきております。ちょっとビデオを見てください。
Bioformus is a fast-growing global leader in digital therapeutics that powers personalized predictive care. Enabled by machine learning and deep neural networks, its BioVitals platform provides actionable insights in real time to help clinicians predict and prevent serious medical events in chronic patients. Susan has been diagnosed with heart failure. BioVitals HF, a heart failure digital therapeutic solution, has been prescribed to manage her heart failure condition at home. Averion, a wearable biosensor, and a companion app continuously and passively monitor over 20 physiological signals processed using our FDA-cleared analytics engine to build her personalized biometric signature and detect changes in her physiology. Artificial intelligence enables BioVitals HF to predict early deterioration in patients with heart failure up to 14 days in advance and with 99% accuracy. When the BioVitals analytics engine detects changes in physiology prior to deterioration, it triggers an alert to the clinician who is now able to intervene and change the trajectory of the disease. AI provides therapeutics recommendations to clinicians to remotely optimize medication dosage. With this, Bioformus is able to reduce mortality and improve overall quality of life for patients with chronic diseases. The BioVitals platform is easily customizable across different therapeutic areas, such as oncology, respiratory diseases, acute coronary syndrome, and chronic pain. Bioformus brings disease, data, machine learning, and clinical-grade hardware together in one ecosystem to improve patient outcomes. The BioVitals platform shows you more than just patient data. It can help show you patient futures. Bioformus, powering personalized predictive care.
すごいですね。もう AI が命を救うと。こういう世界がやってまいりました。次に教育ですね。教育。この面白い会社なんですけどね、財団。こちらは AI でですね、宿題。学生の一番の悩みは宿題が解けない。問題が解けない。わからない。 どうやって解いていいかわからないというような問題であります。これを膨大な時間をですね、学生諸君は、僕も経験ありますけども、時間を無駄にしているといいますか、効率の悪いことをしておりますけども、こちらはですね、スマホを使ってですね、問題をスマホのカメラでピシュッと撮ると、瞬間にですね、答えの解き方、答え合わせができちゃうということであります。まず問題を理解しなきゃいけないので、AI を使って2億5000万問の問題のデータベースを蓄積いたしました。2億5000万も問題あるのかということですけど、そんなに問題のデータベースを蓄積しました。で、それを徹底的に答えをそれぞれにマッチングさせて作っております。で、その答えを解く手順をですね、学生諸君にスマホで教えてあげるということであります。中国ではもうすでに月間のアクティブ利用者、ユーザーがですね、1億7000万人もの学生がアクティブに使っているということであります。宿題出してもですね、先生からすると、なんだと、うちの生徒はですね、みんな正解かと。答えが全員正解ということで帰ってくるならば、宿題を出す意味がないじゃないかと思いがちですけども、そんなことはなくてですね、まず、どっちみち答えは正しい答えで翌日学生が持ってくるなっていうのはもう先生も分かってるわけです。なぜならもう1億7000万人もの学生がですね、財産を使ってるから答えは正確に出てくるんですけども、大事なことは、それで実際にその生徒の学習能力が上がってるかどうかということが大事なところですね。答えが正しいかというのはどっちみち正しい答えがもう AI で出てくるわけですから、この類似問題を続々と出してくれるんですね、これが。そうすると生徒が自分で答えが正しい答えは何なのかというだけではなくて、その答えを自分が事前にちゃんと解けたかどうか、生徒が自分で判断して、そして答え合わせをして、間違ってたら答えを、手順をちゃんと教えてくれて、類似問題をちゃんと理解しているかどうかを類似問題を次々に出してくれる。だから類似問題もどんどん解ける能力がその生徒につくということですね。結果、生徒の試験の成績はですね、試験の時はもちろん使えないわけですから、試験の成績結果もどんどん改善して、中国の学生はどんどん賢くなっている AI のおかげだということであります。ちょっと動画を見ていただきたいと思います。
作业帮是国内最大的中小学在线教育平台，每10个学生中就有7个在使用作业帮。科技为手段，通过拍照搜题，不仅可以即刻得到题目解答，还能通过视频讲解举一反三，让学生完全对知识点理解透彻。目前，作业帮每年为用户提供累计超过350亿次作业辅导和知识讲解，超过3亿次举一反三练习，以及超过100万小时的答疑讲解，为学生建立良好学习习惯，提升学习效率，帮助学生减负，做出了巨大的帮助。
我们还把 AI 老师应用在我们的教学和产品里，构建了人工智能加大数据精准教育的模式，打造一个优质的在线教育平台。AI 老师带给学生们最大的改变就是因材施教。
通过拍照搜题、学情检测为学生生成的用户画像，经由精准的大数据综合分析，洞察个体的学习能力及差异。之后 ，AI 老师提供具有及时有效的问答辅导服务，让学生不懂就问，培养起主动学习的良好习惯。
すごいですね。AI が中国の学生をどんどん賢くしていっていると。成績が良くなってきていると。考える力もどんどんついてきているということであります。日本の学生も負けてられませんね。先生方もどんどん AI を使ってですね、日本の生徒たちをもっと賢くしていくべきだというふうに私は思いますね。次、レンズカート。これまた面白いんですね。従来、この メガネ屋さんに行ってですね、自分の視力をまずチェックしてもらう。右目がどうだ、左目がどうだ、乱視があるのかないのかというようなことをチェックして、自分の顔にどのフレームが合うのかということも確かめて、そして大体右目と左目と違ったりしますし、フレームも違うので、ほとんどはカスタムメイドになる場合が多いんですけれども、これがですね、AI を使って事前に VR でですね、自分の顔にかけた状況をチェックできて、しかも視力の診断まで AI でできてしまうと。目からカメラまでの距離を、顔をこう動かしているときにですね、目からカメラまでの距離を自動的に測って、そして顔にどのようにフィットしたかということをリアルタイムでですね、顔にこうかけた状況を見せて、で、かつ、その顔の大きさだとか、その人の輪郭とかに合わせてですね、レコメンドしてくる。で、オンラインで今、もうバンバンインドではこれで買われております。何百店舗というお店とオンラインでの販売、両方セットになって、レンズの削り出しからフレームの作りからで、もうだいたい2日後には自宅にそれが届くと。しかも何万円じゃなくて数千円という、しかももっと安い方の値段でですね、カスタムメイドの自分のメガネが2日後には家に届くと。もうじき翌日には届くというところまで進化するそうであります。レンズの削り出しのロボットまで含めて全部この会社がもう垂直生産で生産から販売まで一気通貫でオンラインまで含めてやっているという会社です。ちょっとビデオを見てください。
4.5 billion people globally need vision correction. 2.5 billion still do not have access to it. Today, 40% of the world's visually impaired are Indians. Can't AI and technology solve this mammoth problem? What if we could do a perfect virtual try-on even using a basic phone camera? By using advanced computer vision and leveraging machine learning and AI, along with our real-time iris detection and measuring real-time distance of iris from the screen, and by also measuring face size and the pupillary distance. And with augmented reality, we can make eyeglasses accessible. We can make intelligent frame recommendations perfectly suited to each face size, providing a 3D immersive experience, a personalized real-life experience, and trying thousands of looks just in a matter of 10 seconds. With this, ideal eyewear buying experience can become truly accessible to everyone, anywhere in the world. With computer vision, Lenskart is solving other new age problems too, such as social distancing, getting alerts as ideal distance is breached, getting intelligent data about the customer as well as the store, building an intelligent omni-channel experience. With the help of technology and AI, at Lenskart, we believe we can provide access to affordable eyewear to the 2.5 billion people globally. Lenskart.com。
はい。それじゃあさらに進みたいと思います。AI が人の命を救うというのは薬だとか、病気だとかいろんなものありましたけれども、この交通事故でですね、亡くなっている人がたくさんいますね。この自動運転で道路に走る車がですね、事故のない交通システムを提供してくれるならば、どれほど良いかということであります。で、先ほどNVIDIA のジェンセンともですね、自動運転についてどう思うかという話をしました。彼も全く私と同じでですね、必ず自動運転の世界は来ると。必ず人間よりもより精度の高い、事故の少ない自動運転の世界が来ると。100% 彼も私も信じているわけですが、順番としてはですね、人間を運ぶよりも物を運ぶと。この方がより安全だし、より早く許認可も下りるし、万が一のぶつかったりした時でもですね、そこに乗ってる人間ではなくて、そこに乗ってる、例えば中華丼がひっくり返る、それは大した事故じゃないねというようなことで、食品のデリバリーだとか、 生鮮食品のデリバリーだとか、あるいは配達物のデリバリー、こういうようなものが始まるということであります。動画をちょっと一緒に見ていただきたいと思いますが、早速はアメリカではですね、カリフォルニアとテキサスとアリゾナ、3つの州でもうすでに一般の道路でですね、この自動運転でニューロが走っております。もうすでに許認可を政府から得てですね、このように一般の公道で走っております。時速40キロで走ります。で、自動車よりは4分の1ぐらいの大きさですね。より小さいので、万が一ぶつかってもですね、人身事故に遭うような相手方も、そのリスクはより小さいわけですし、もちろん中に乗ってるものは人間じゃなくて物ですから、より許認可を得やすいんですね。いくら技術があってもですね、許認可を得て一般道でこのようにどんどん実績を積み上げていかないとですね、前に進まないんですけれども、ニューロは早速ですね、このように工事中のところを避けたりですね、あるいは人間が途中でパッと出てくるとか、犬が出てくるとか、そういうような状況も全て認知して安全に運転をする。人間を運転手を乗せないと完全に無人の運転でこのように一般道でしかも3つの州にまたがってというのはニューロが世界初という状況であります。我々ソフトバンクグループはですね、ビジョンファンドが筆頭株主の会社ですけども、このように人間がちょっと横に出てきたとかいうようなことがあってもですね、安全にすでにこの一般道で動いてますし、こういうトラックの物陰で人が出てきたとか、あるいは曲がっていくというような時、前に止まって車が止まって運転手がなぜか横に出てきてるとか、そういうような状況、そういうイレギュラーな状況が発生してもですね、ちゃんとそれを認識しながら安全に運転を止めたり避けたりというようなことができるということであります。もうすでに早速ピザだとかですね、地方雑貨を作り始めております。もう一つさらにこのニューロの動画を見ていただきたいんですけども、先ほどは実際に公道を走っているということでした。公道を走る中でですね、実験中とはいえですね、実験的な試験的な運用とはいえ、事故を起こすわけにいきませんので、様々な例外のケースをですね、シミュレーションの世界でこのようにニューロが実際に、歩道に今人が出てきたなとか、反対車線からこれ、ダブルイエローラインを乗り越えてですね、こっちに来ちゃったとか、夜になってなんかほとんど見えないなと。犬が急に飛び出してきた。人間でもですね、こういう薄明かりの時っていうのは一番事故起きやすいんですけれども、日が暮れた直後とかですね、こういうように横からお客さんが物を受け取るというところに駐車するとか、こういうようなシミュレーションがもうどんどん様々なその例外ケースまで出してくれると。それでものすごい数の実験ができるということであります。もう早速ですね、ピザのデリバリーだとか生鮮食品のデリバリーにもうニューロが業務提携の契約をしましてですね、続々と運用がこれから始まるということであります。もうじき量産が始まる。もう完全にその時代が来たということであります。次、もう世界中の人が注目しているバイトダンスであります。TikTok の開発者ですね。まさにこれも従来はですね、ショートビデオいっぱいあったんですけども、ロングビデオ、ショートビデオあってもですね、いちいち検索するとか、なんか入力するとか、も面倒だったんですけども、これも完璧に AI でですね、AI の力で、その人の好み、見てる最中に、どのぐらいのスピードでスクロールするのかですね、そこを熱心に見てるとか、リピートして見てるとか、そのユーザーのこのビヘイビアによってですね、そのユーザーの好みの コンテンツをどんどんと AI が探し出してですね、レコメンドして、もう次々にもう15秒ずつでこうやってスクロールしてるうちにですね、どんどん自分好みの動画が出てくる。私なんかも、休みの時ですね、ちょっと5分、3分時間が空いた時に、ちゃっちゃ。で、3分空いたからって見出すとですね、ついつい30分、1時間、見てしまうと。寝る前にそんなことがたびたびありますが、すごいですね。ちょっとこちらも動画を見ていただきたいと思います。
Guys, there's a really cool app that I've been
はい。エンターテインメントの世界も変わるということですが、次に住宅。こちらはですね、同じ買い物でも金額がでかいですね。従来は町の不動産屋さんに、どんなアパートだとか、家をですね、借りたらいいのか、買ったらいいのか、そういうようなこと、もう大変でした。これもまさにオフラインの世界なんですけども、これをベイクがですね、AI を使って、中国のほとんどの不動産代理店が、こちらに登録をし、アクセスをして、お互いに活用する。もうすでにですね、データベースとして2億3000万件の家が入っていると。しかも月間のアクティブな利用者が3900万人。毎月3900万人もの人がですね、家を探しているという数だけでも、これまたやっぱりさすが中国でかいですね、数が。仲介事業者も46万人。取引の件数もですね、去年だけで年間220万回。今年はもっと増えました。今年上場したものすごい会社でものすごい急成長して、もうすでに利益も莫大に上げているという会社でございます。このまさに AI を使ってですね、物件のやり取りをするだけではなくて、さらに物件の内覧ですね、内覧会がバーチャルリアリティを使ってやれて、自分好みの内装に変えていくというようなこともできます。動画を見てください。
Are you still browsing photos and videos to learn about home listings? Bakera's virtual tour will make you rethink how you view listings.The secret is a series of cameras developed by RealC, a Bakera business group. The cameras can capture depth information of the space while shooting, collect millions of fine scales details to create point cloud of the interior, and then recreate a virtual replica of the home, utilizing Bakera's proprietary algorithm. During the virtual walkthrough,Users are able to see information such as the size and orientation of the home. Bakera has 3D reconstructed over 5 million listings by June 2020. Users won't feel dizziness and can enjoy an immersive walk in the virtual space. They can also get interactive services based on the 3D tour. They can easily start a live call,and inspect the property with a real estate agent's guidance. Or users can share a link, inviting others to join in on the tour with one click. But this isn't all. Bakra also offers an AI home design feature where users can visualize their future home. This is just the start. In the future, Bakra's VR will be associated with more scenes, aiming to build a better life for users.
はい、すごいですね。もう自分好みの、内装、もうちゃっちゃっと和風だとか、イタリアンだとか、中華風のデザインだとかですね、モダンだとか、ちょっと学生向けだとか、自分の好みをタッチすると瞬時にもうリアルタイムで AI が家具をリコメンドしてくれるということでしたね。まあ本当に便利な世界がやってまいりました。次に e コマース。e コマースもですね、我々が筆頭株主になっているこのクーパン。韓国で圧倒的ナンバーワンになりました。このクーパンまさにですね、我々のグループ会社として AI を需要予測に使ってますし、在庫の最適化、配送の効率化、最速のルート設計、もう全部に AI を全ての工程に活用しているという状況であります。こちらも動画を見てください。日本より進んでますね。
얼마나 많은 제품을 더 많은 고객들에게 더 빠르고 편리하고 만족스럽게 전달할 수 있을까? 직원들이 얼마나 더 효율적이고 즐겁게 일할 수 있을까? 쿠팡은 고민했습니다. 이 모든 것의 답은 인공지능이었죠. 쿠팡의 머신러닝은 고객이 주문을 하기도 전에 주문량을 예측해 입고합니다. 입고된 상품을 어디에 진열할지, 이 상품을 어떤 동선으로 꺼내올지도 인공지능이 정해줍니다. 걸음수는 계속 줄어도 효율은 더 높아질 수 있도록 쿠팡은 끊임없이 개선합니다. 여기서 끝이 아닙니다. 준비된 제품들은 이미 쿠팡카에 담길 위치까지 지정되어 있습니다. 게다가 쿠팡의 인공지능은 쿠팡맨들이 운전하기 좋은 최적의 경로까지 계산해줍니다. 주문부터 배송까지 쿠팡이 다 하니까, 인공지능이 이 모든 걸 가이드하니까 로켓 배송 제품은 쓰러지지 않죠. 연간 수억 개 이상의 압도적인 주문 규모, 빈틈없는 이길, 새벽, 당일 전국 배송. 인공지능이 만드는 놀라운 혁신, 이 모든 게 쿠팡이니까 가능합니다.
いよいよ最後にですね、先ほどジェンセンと対談をいたしましたけども、我々のアームと NVIDIA、こちらが合併をいたします。アームは NVIDIA の買収で、その一本化されるわけですけども、許認可もちろん必要ですけれども、我々は非常に楽しみにしています。両方のエコシステムですね。開発事業者がものすごい業界の中でたくさんいます。で、AI の革命を一気に加速していくと。非常に楽しみな。従来は人々がですね、もう単に計算をするとか検索をするというものだったのが、AI を使ってですね、コンピューティングの世界が理解をする。ものを考える。そしていよいよ最後にはクリエイトするというところまで僕は行くと思っておりますが、まさにこの AI はですね、情報革命で人々を幸せにするために、人々が交通事故で亡くならない、いろんな急な伝染病で亡くならない、不治の病ですね、心臓病だとか、癌だとか、いろんな病で亡くならない、そのために AI を使うんだと。人々がエンターテインメントをもっと楽しむために、人々が買い物をもっと楽しむために、AI は決してですね、人々を不幸せにするためではなくて、人々をもっと快適で豊かで愉快な、そういう世界をもたらしてくれる。そのためにあると。そのためにこれからこの革命は進むと。私は非常にポジティブに捉えております。ぜひ、このエキサイティングな時代に生まれたことを幸せだと思い、この革命に貢献をしていきたい。心から そう思っております。日本の多くのビジネスマンの皆様もですね、ぜひぜひ世界のこの AI の革命の潮流に遅れないように一緒に頑張っていきましょう。よろしくお願いいたします。
はい、孫社長、そしてジェンスン CEO ありがとうございました。いや、本当にワクワクする話がね、たくさん飛び出しましたけれども、まさに SF の世界がサイエンス、ノンフィクションの、世界になろうとしている、そんな感じがいたしました。さあ、この後は特別プログラム Meet the Global Tech Leaders です。